Paul's going to be doing the Schiffer Report tonight, aren't you, Paul?
Well, we have a very special guest on at about 7:20 for about 40 minutes. His name is Kent Clisby. He's a former CIA espionage officer, really interesting guy, and he wrote a best-selling book about 5 years ago called Willing Accomplices. I'm going to be talking about with him how the political correctness madness out there, especially as promoted by the media in Hollywood and the Democrat Party, was created and propagated over here, sent into our body politic like a payload by the KGB.
Mm-hmm.
It's all originated with the communists in Moscow. Mm-hmm. And our guest, a former CIA agent, been around the world doing his work, fighting the Russians and everything. And he's got a book out, Willing Accomplices, that shows how the KGB covert influence agents created political correctness. That's why we have this madness. It just didn't pop up on its own.
Well, I certainly look forward to that because it is mad. I mean, everything seems to be upside down. Abortion is legal.
Yeah.
You can murder your baby up till and including when it's aborted, if it happens to survive the abortion procedure. So, no, that sounds great. And I'm glad you're all out there in listening land. I want to welcome you to Monday Night Roundtable with George Satari. George is away. And so I am in the throne seat here behind the red the red microphone. Anyways, we are excited that you are here. If you want to be on the show tonight, the toll-free number is 888-677-9673. That's 888-677-9673. We'd like to hear from you. As George likes to tout it, we are on-air talent, and we adjourn you to be on-air talent with us. So, hey, I want to let y'all know about something that this is kind of like a call to action. We have House Bill 239, the Testing and Reduction Act, that was sponsored by Gail Manning, Representative Manning, and this is a call to action to oppose it, both by Chris Long of the Ohio Christian Alliance and also Tom Zawakowski, president of We the People, or as you commonly know it, the Portage County Tea Party. And what this bill does, HB 239, it must be defeated, and we need your help. Now, why is it? We need your help to kill 239. It will kill the founding fathers of America documents learned in Ohio schools. The committee meets Tuesday, June 11th, tomorrow. In other words, and I'll just quote Gail Manning's press release on it, Representative Gail Manning and somebody else recently introduced House Bill 239, the Testing Reduction Act. This legislation will reduce the amount of time that Ohio students spend on standardized testing. HB 239 will reduce the state-mandated standardized testing to the federal minimums by eliminating 4 high school end-of-course exams: geometry, ELA 1, American history, and American government. Well, we believe that it will strip out the end course exam requirement for American government and American history, and if it's not required, Paul, they ain't going to teach it. They're just not going to teach it.
It's more of this maddening political correctness, getting rid of
That's
American
exactly
history,
right.
getting rid of our history.
And if there's any doubt, just ask Sarah Fowler, who was on Chris Long's radio broadcast recently, and you can get that. And she talked about it in length, and she's on the state school board. So, folks, they don't teach government and they don't teach our history now, and this is going to make it even worse. So we encourage you to call your state representatives tomorrow. Actually, Chris Long is looking for people that want to give opponent testimony. And I won't read all the rest of it, but the document's here. But again, this is House Bill 239. Gail Manning sponsored it.
Is she a Republican or a Democrat? Probably a Democrat.
Well, no, it's
co-sponsored.
It's co-sponsored. She
well,
sponsored
the Republicans
it,
control
but they have
the House and Senate.
right.
You got a Republican. Hopefully, it doesn't
But
get anywhere.
It's got Democrats on it.
Well,
Yeah.
the committee that it was referred to, she's the chair of that committee.
Okay.
She's
Yeah.
the chair of the House Education Committee on which that bill goes to.
So that needs to be opposed. However, we have another quick guest on the line here. We have John Morrow, and I've asked him to call in to explain the changes with House Bill 6 and why you should vote for that, why you should call your state reps also and vote for House Bill 6. John, are you there? Great. Yeah, we can hear you just fine. John, I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule. I know things have been quite up in the air and hectic. And as we talked before about why it is important to keep our nuclear plants fired up and working here in Ohio, we talked about the polar vortex and what happens when we get into sub-zero weather for long periods of time, and why it's really important that not only our coal-fired power plants but our nuclear power plants are kept running and up. So would you take it from there and just explain it to the listeners? Okay. No, I want to. Could you tell me again what the House Bill 6 is for? I didn't give that when I said the overview. So just kind of give the overview. And I know people are calling it a bailout, and we need it because of the polar vortex, correct? Okay. Okay. So this is a subsidy. This is a subsidy we're already been paying, and I know we don't like subsidies. I don't like subsidies. However, this isn't going to increase the subsidy. What this is going to do is actually shift nuclear over and make it eligible for the subsidy. And we need the nuclear because why? So, right, right. So we actually had gas power plants not able to work in sub-zero weather. Right, but when they shut down the nuclear power plants, the argument is, well, there's other nuclear power plants on the grid because we're on PJM. But aren't we running extension cords out of state, which is, I mean, I believe that extension cords can be cut by either act of God or act of man, and that being self-sufficient is probably the most important thing that we can do as Ohioans. Keep the jobs here, keep the energy close here, and because the other thing is that the subsidy right now, they want to use it for wind and solar, right? Don't they want to put like 1,200 windmills out in Lake Erie with the icebreaker? I mean, originally it's 6, but eventually they want to put like 1,200 windmills out in Lake Erie. Wow. Yeah. So okay, so the bottom line is HB6 is good. Wind power. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, well, John, I just got one more minute, and I know when we talked off air, you said something about Bernie Sanders. If you love Bernie Sanders, vote against HB6. If you're for Ohio, then you should vote for it, or something like that. When you want to repeat that, or John Kasich. Mm-hmm. 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 Okay, and one more thing. Well, one more thing. Isn't this a power struggle between former Speaker Ryan Smith and current Speaker of the House Larry Householder? Isn't this a power struggle, a political play by Ryan Smith to oppose this? Okay. All right. Well, bottom line is HB6 is good. Call your senator, your Ohio senator, and tell them to vote for the bill. John, I want to thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate your expertise. Please call us back in the future with any updates. Thank you. All right, now we've got the Schiffer report, and I'm going to just pass this football right off to my guy.
Well, feel
Paul
free
Schiffer.
to interject any time. It's a very easy subject in the sense that we all, as thinking conservatives, know that the political correctness mentality, this brainwashing that's out there, that's getting worse by the hour, the day, the month. It's terrible. It's despicable. Shoving this homosexuality, transgenderism, global warming, what you were just discussing, trying to destroy coal. Basically, the left is out to destroy American heritage, our history, our past, trying to transform our present, and leading us into a socialist future.
Socialist,
And
communist,
this-
one world government.
And this was all kicked off by the KGB. And our guest tonight, Kent Clisby, is a former CIA espionage officer. He documents in his book Willing Accomplices. He documents how the PC thought the propaganda took root in this country going back 1919,
oh, I
and then
believe it.
accelerated through the 20s, 30s,
Yep,
40s, and grew to what we see now.
I believe
This did not just happen in a vacuum.
And I think we got him here online.
Okay, our guest tonight, Kent Clisby, author of Willing Accomplices, How KGB Covert Influence Agents Created Political Correctness and Obama's Hate America First political platform and destroyed America. Kent Clisby, great to have you with us. We'll have about 35, 40 minutes. What a powerful book. I met with you with a friend of mine, Vicky, years ago in that cafe outside of D.C. at the suggestion of a mutual friend of ours, John Grigsby. And by the way, the host of this show is George Satarian's best friends with Grigsby. He's in Hungary right now. That's why I'm filling in for him, along with Steve. But at any rate, tell us, before we get into this almost unbelievable topic about the KGB being behind this onslaught, the tsunami of political correctness that's destroying our way of life now and eroding away our heritage and our past and capitalism itself. Tell us a little bit about what you did in the CIA, and how do you know about the extensive knowledge that you have about Soviet active measures in the KGB? Explain that to the audience. Now, what year was this, Kent? That you? Okay. Hey, Kent, hold your thought. We'll be right back. There's just one commercial break. After this commercial break, we'll keep you on for another 25 minutes or so. Kent Clisby, author of Willing Accomplices, former CIA espionage officer, to tell you all about the Soviet onslaught against our great nation. We'll be right back.
And we're back. All right. Good evening, everyone. Monday Night Roundtable with Steve Krause sitting in the Attila of the Hun chair. George is away, so everybody here is going to play. And while we're playing, I just want to mention a few things. Alex Newman is going to be at the Act for America meeting in Cleveland on Monday, June 17th at the Brecksville Community Center at 7 p.m. It's a $5 charge, and he's on a mission about rescuing our children and our nation from the deep state. So that's Alex Newman. That's Act for America Cleveland, Monday, June 17th. That's just next Monday night.
Yeah.
It's at 7. How dare they do it the same night that we do, same time we do our show? What are they thinking? But anyways, it's very important that you go out to this event. It's only $5. Bring your young people, bring your children, bring your grandchildren, because it's those are the generations that are going to need to pick this fight up as us older guys like you, Dakota. you young guys, because the other people like Paul and me, well, we're not going to be around too much longer. So anyways, Dakota, you have an event coming up real quick. Can you talk about that just briefly before we get back to our guest?
Well, our first annual golf outing, a fundraiser. It's for the Edison Young Americans for Freedom. That's next Monday, June 17th.
You're doing it on our radio show Monday?
But it's not at night.
Oh, okay.
It's actually during the day. Tea time starts at 11. We plan on having a luncheon at 3:30. You can RSVP from me at 419-208-5225. Again, that is 419-208-5225.
Okay, so if you're a golfer, they want to golf with you next Monday to help the young people who are going to be our future leaders.
Yeah.
You're going to be a future leader, right?
Yeah.
You are a future leader. How do they get a hold of you? What's the number?
419-208-5225. Again, that is 419-208-5225.
And again, I just want to thank you all for being out here and listening. I want to thank our sponsors for what they've done. If you want to call in and be part of the show, it's 888-677-9673. That's 888-677-9673. And our special guest today, we're on the Schiffer Report, and we got Paul. Go ahead, Paul.
Well,
Take
thanks.
it away.
I appreciate the fact you and George Satari have allowed me to be on the program the past 3 shows, and I guess one more time next week. My name is Paul Schiffer. I used to do a syndicated broadcast from this very same studio many years ago. We have with us now, and there will be no more interruptions. We got about another 25 minutes with a very powerful special guest, Kent Clisby. Again, he's a former CIA espionage officer. He documents in his new book, Willing Accomplices, extensive research and analysis of covert influence operations. Folks, you know that political correctness, if you see the news at all every day and see what they're doing to President Trump and seeing how insane the Democrat Party and the media have become, it's all because of political correctness. Well, where did this political correctness, this hate America first, as opposed to make America great again, where did it come from? Our guest tonight, Kent Clisby, documents, he proves in his book, and he'll prove to you tonight, that it came from the former Soviet Union, from the KGB. Welcome back, Kent. Well, no more commercial breaks here. You got 25 minutes here. Let's run. Let's get back. You had that epiphany where it crossed your mind. My God, what's happened to America with all this crazy liberal stuff? And you talk to foreigners who love America, and you come back over. This is after 9/11 to America as a CIA agent, and you're saying, what's happened to our great nation? We've got people in the Democrat Party and the media and Hollywood promoting all of this hate America nonsense, which has actually gotten much worse since your book came out about 5 years ago. So go ahead.
Well, that's what I was thinking, Ken. It was like a seed planted and it started growing, and it's like those vines growing up the side of the wall of your house, and it breaks up the brick and the mortar. Isn't that what you're talking about? Everybody's a hyphenated American now. Mm. Is is that because of the resiliency? I'm sorry, Ken, but is that because of the resiliency of the American people that, the opportunity, it's the equality of opportunity, not the equality of outcome, and the fact that we had such a huge migration of Europeans who came over here, and with their hard work and the sweat of the brow, they were able to come over here paupers and create a life that they could never have had in their former countries in England or Europe. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If,
So,
if
so,
you
so just yeah. Let's just get to the point here. I mean, Trump said, "Look, Mexico, if you don't do what we want you to do, if you don't stop this influx of immigrants, illegal immigrants into our southern border, we're going to slap tariffs on you." And they went berserk. Well, tariff is nothing more than a tax, and basically all we're going to do is tax Mexico. So all these liberals, all these people that are you're mean if you're against the immigrants coming in, but I got a question. I didn't think there wasn't a tax a liberal didn't like. So why are these liberals wanting to tax Americans, but they don't want to tax the Mexicans? Because the tariff doesn't hurt the Americans, it only hurts the Mexicans, and that's why they came to the table right away. So what you're talking about, this William Messenberg or
William Musenberg.
Musenberg, he mm-hmm.
This
Mm-hmm.
If you just tuned in, you're listening to Monday Night Roundtable. Our guest presently is Kent Clisby, a former CIA espionage officer who did a lot of research and networking around the world and found out that the political correctness that we see destroying this country from within, that's taken over the media, the Liberal Democrat Party pushed it all the way to the left, and Hollywood, actually comes from a covert Soviet Bolshevik from way back in the time of Lenin and the Bolshevik Revolution, doing what they called Soviet active measures. They put a payload into a country. A payload is the propaganda, and it's grown. And now we have a mess on our hands, and it's gotten worse and worse every year. Kent, your book, Willing Accomplices, it's still up on Amazon.com. I would encourage the people to get it. Willing Accomplices: How KGB Covert Influence Agents Created Political Correctness. We see it right now getting to the point where they're actually having Soviet-style show trials, basically, is what took place in the House of Representatives today, with the liberals like Nadler and others accusing Trump of crimes and obstruction, bringing in John Dean of Watergate fame. Isn't the stuff they're doing now, the Democrats in the House, much like what happened under Lenin and Stalin, Kent? Right. One one of your main points in your book, Kent, is in your book Willing Accomplices, is a phrase called "endemka," and it's very important that people understand what this phrase means. It started under Lenin and Stalin, and it's just tell the listening audience what "endemka" stands for, what it means, and how it's destroying our country, and it's how the Democrat Party in the United States operates today. And that's what the media is all about today, and that's what Nancy Pelosi and Adam Nedler and Pencil Neck Schiff, all of them. Get Ken, I want to refer. We only have about 3 minutes. Excuse me. We only have about 3 minutes left. I want you to give out your website, how to get a hold